Hi guys, this is Russ with Healthforward Online, and today I have another great video for you guys. And today I want to talk about the dangers of sugar. And I'm with Ryan. He's a certified health coach, and he has studied this topic and taught lectures on it. And I thought it'd be great to talk to him more about this, so that we can share information with you guys about this great topic. So Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Russ.
You bet. So tell us briefly a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are.
Well, like you said, I am a certified health coach. I graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition.
Okay.
From their health coaching program. So what that means, a lot of people ask me, what is a health coach? And I basically am a personal cheerleader, if you will, an advocate for someone that wants to take their health to the next level. You know, they have some health concerns and they really want someone to hold their hand. And I find that a lot of people know what to do already, have heard things either on the news or from people, their friends, family, about what they should or shouldn't be doing, but they really don't know where to begin, and they just want someone to help them take that first step, to take action.
Yeah.
So that's really where I come into play.
Okay.
I've also had over 10 years in the industry working at a local health food store, Elliott's Natural Foods.
Okay. And that's how I met you, basically.
Yeah, we met there. And you know, I get people coming in every single day with health concerns, and so a lot of on-the-job training comes with that, just real-world experience, what works, what doesn't work. And what brings me to this topic today, you know, sugar blues, is I see this coming up again and again. It's a very fundamental thing. People know, hey, I should be reducing my sugar intake. I know it's not the greatest thing for me.
Yeah.
I just don't know where to begin. They find that sugar's in so many things.
Well, let's get in right there to because that's kind of part of some of my questions. Define the types of sugars that are bad for us.
First things first. When you're buying a food, especially if it has an ingredient list, you want to look at that ingredient list and see if there's sugar in it. It's going to look like sugar or refined cane sugar.
So you're saying looking at the ingredient list, not so much the label where it lists the grams or the amounts of it, or both?
Well, you know, we could talk about that. The numbers in the nutritional facts, you know, where it says grams of sugar, that could be helpful, but the labeling laws that determine what counts as a gram of sugar and what doesn't is very unclear, and it doesn't actually help someone who's trying to reduce sugar, because sometimes you'll find that things essentially are sugar even if it doesn't have very much grams of sugar on the label. And we could talk about that, why that is the case, but you really want to look at the ingredients in the product, because that's where you're going to be able to tell what it's sweetened with, and most things are sweetened with stuff. The two primary flavors in this country that people are most addicted to is salt and sweet.
Yeah.
And so you're going to find lots of salt and sweet in most processed foods. So when you're looking at ingredient lists, you want to look for words like sugar, but oftentimes it's called things like cane juice, cane sweetener, fructose, crystalline fructose, or even sometimes sucrose, beet sugar, beet juice. Those are the kinds of words that you want to be looking for. Or even some of your healthier products will have fruit sweeteners like date paste or concentrated dried fruits in there. These are designed to add the sweetness, the sugar.
And what's the danger with that? Okay, it sounds good. Some of the stuff sounds healthy.
It's
and
true.
You told me before that it's the lack of fiber is a big issue.
Well,
it's not in its whole form.
It's oftentimes the sugar is not in its whole form. It's oftentimes concentrated, so it's either juiced or removed from its original food and refined for just the sweet aspect of it. You're losing the minerals, you're losing the fiber. And the reason why those are there to begin with, the reason why in its natural form the fiber and the minerals are there, is because your body needs the minerals, those vitamins, in order to assimilate and digest the sugar. The fiber in there slows the absorption of that sugar down so that you don't get the huge influx of blood sugar, which we'll talk about why that's an issue. And so when you take the fiber, you take those vitamins and minerals out, you get a very pharmaceutical drug-like effect from that sugar. It leaves your body depleted of those vitamins and minerals because it needs to take it from its own stored resources in order to process it, and you end up craving more sugar in the long run. Oftentimes people see that after they have something sweet, an hour and a half, 2 hours later, they're craving something else sweet again.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into the next question is what are some of the health issues of sugar that people need to be aware of?
Well,
this is really the whole reason we're talking today.
Number one is weight gain. This country's obesity is on the rise, and it continues to be on the rise, and there's really no end in sight. And all the metabolic dysfunctions of people having trouble losing weight. Also, the obesity leads to type 2 diabetes, which greatly shortens lifespan. It's been proven. Yep. And all this has to do in large part to the amount of sweeteners in our diet. If you look at any statistics, as the average consumption of sugar for the average American is somewhere over 100 pounds a year, and I've seen upwards of 150 pounds a year in some statistics. This is a tremendous amount of sugar. If you were to look at how much volume sugar that is, those bags of white sugar you get at the grocery store are 4 pounds. And you need 25 of them, 25 of those bags in order to get what the average person is consuming in a year. A lot of that is in your drinks, sodas, and other sweetened beverages that people are consuming daily. So they are able to pack in a liquid form a lot of sugar. And then also it's in the processed foods. Basically anything in a package or a box or a can is going to have sugar added for flavor.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned it earlier, but let's expand on it. What is the role of blood sugar?
Blood sugar. Well, what happens when someone consumes sugar? From a metabolic perspective, the blood sugar, the sugar in the food goes into the blood after it's being absorbed, and the body has to utilize it somehow. If your blood remains high in sugar, it causes damage to your cardiovascular system and the tissues. So the body has a hormone that it produces called insulin that is able to unlock your cells throughout your body in order to absorb that sugar in your bloodstream. Okay.
And that's kind of a good thing, isn't it?
It is a good thing because you would die if you didn't have insulin.
Energy.
But what happens is, for the most part, people are consuming more sugar than they need at any one moment for metabolic activity, just being upright and breathing and be able to move around. Your brain also uses a lot of sugar in order to maintain consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So, but most people have more sugar in their bloodstream than what they actually need. So the body has to store that or convert it to something in order to get rid of the bloodstream. It can store it in your liver in the form of glycogen, and it can store it in your muscle cells. But after those reservoirs are filled up, your body has to convert that sugar into fat, typically, and which causes fat stores to rise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, so once your body's done that job of getting rid of the sugar in your bloodstream through the use of insulin, your blood sugar level starts going down. The higher that your blood sugar ends up rising from a meal, conversely, the lower you end up having blood sugar an hour and a half, 2 hours later. That low blood sugar state is what causes the cravings to have more sugar, which causes a cyclical effect.
Yeah. Okay. How about some of the most popular quote-unquote natural sweeteners that most people believe are safe? Agave is probably an example.
Yeah, so, people are realizing that sugar's a problem. So they still want that sweet taste in their diet. And we're designed to taste that taste in our food. And it's important that we have that sweet taste in our diet. It's very important that we actually give ourselves that sweet taste. Otherwise, the cravings for it just keep getting stronger and stronger. How do we do that without derailing our health? Well, first and foremost, eating naturally sweet whole foods, whole grains, root vegetables like sweet potatoes and carrots and beets. These things are naturally sweet. They're in their whole food state, so you're getting all the fiber and vitamins and minerals that your body needs in order to digest that, metabolize it. You're getting that sweet taste and satisfies that craving. As far as sweeteners, though, a lot of people want to start adding some kind of sweetness into their foods when they're preparing foods at home. There's a lot of different options in the market as far as agave, as you mentioned, coconut sugar, coconut nectar, it's called also, maple syrup, maple sugar, honey. Those are concentrated sweeteners that tend to be a little easier on your system because they still have a lot of the vitamins and minerals left intact that give your body some of the nutrition it needs when consuming those sweeteners. They tend to have a lot of flavor so that you end up using less of them to get that sweetness. And they're a lot less refined than, say, a white table sugar. There's oftentimes less chemicals being used, especially if it's an organic sweetener. When you're consuming those things like agave or coconut, or even your unrefined cane sweeteners, that really dark. Some of it's called raw sugar. It's a really dark brown sugar.
Yeah.
Then there's also sweeteners that don't really have sugar, but they have a very saccharine taste to them, like stevia or lohan. These sweeteners don't have any sugar in them at all, and they are actually plants that extracts of give you that sweet taste with 0 calories virtually, and no effect on blood sugar levels. And there actually is some evidence coming out that those sweeteners may have some health benefits as far as blood sugar levels, maintaining and supporting healthy blood sugar levels.
Okay, so let's the healthy sweeteners that people can substitute their diet with. You mentioned stevia. Is there any others that people can bake with? I want to encourage people to get rid of the processed sugar, but give them some really good options that they can turn to.
Yeah, I'll talk about what I use.
Okay.
What I really like. First off, if I'm going to be doing any kind of baking I'm going to be using some kind of sugar, not like stevia or Lohan, which doesn't have any sugar in it, because sugar plays kind of a mechanical role too when you're baking, that it provides substance and in the product, like in bread or things like that. What I like to do, Russ, is I like to use the Rapadura sugar, which is the unrefined cane juice. It's a very dark brown sugar.
I've seen that at the stores, but I don't think I've ever used it.
It has a wonderful flavor to it. You can use a lot less of that as compared to white sugar because of the flavor it has. It adds a lot of flavor to your foods, so you can use less of it. Plus, it still has a lot of the vitamins and minerals it left intact. There is no fiber in there, so it's still something you should monitor carefully. You don't want to go overboard on it because it's a healthy sweetener. You find a lot of people do this. Oh, if agave's healthy, or if cane juice is healthy, I could consume endless amounts of it. But I personally use that in baking. I also like to use maple syrup and honey in drinks or teas or sauces that I may be making that I'm going to want to make sweet. Again, very much closer to somewhat of a whole food, even though they have a real sweetness to them, concentrated sweetness. I like stevia and Lohan. I think for people that are kind of getting to a place where they may have a little bit of metabolic syndrome, trouble losing weight, they have some health issues, maybe even excess yeast, or they really want to go on a low or zero sugar type diet, Lohan and stevia is something they want to really use. And another one too I have yet to mention, xylitol, which is very much like sugar. It measures cup for cup like sugar. It has a real sweet taste like sugar, but very, very low impact on blood sugar levels. Those things, you really want to experiment with how to incorporate those. Everybody's different in how they taste those. Some people think that stevia is bitter. You need to find a brand that you like that doesn't have that taste to it. If you want to try to use stevia, Lohan's a great one too. It doesn't have that bitter quality. Also, mixing these sweeteners together, maybe using a little xylitol and a little Lohan together, I find that works really well. And experiment how that goes in a recipe, because they're not oftentimes going to measure cup for cup.
Good. It's good information.
Yeah.
And if people want to find out more about you or about your coaching and what you do you have a website?
Yes, thank you for asking. My website is ryangaska.com. My name, right? RyanGaska.com.
I will post that down below so people can see it, and also at the end of this video, and also in the description here on YouTube, so people can get a hold of you if they'd like.
Russ, if I can just add one more thing.
Yep.
I know this is the topic that, it's hard to really get in depth in it in a short little video like this. This is really just an introduction to someone. If they want to learn more about this, they can contact me or do more research on the internet about it. I just want people to get motivated on the idea that it's possible to reduce sugar in the diet. When your body consumes sugar, there's receptor sites that get down-regulated so that you continually need more and more sugar in order to fill those receptor sites. It only takes about 2 to 3 weeks for your body to rebuild those receptor sites back up so that you don't crave those high amounts of sugar. So I really want to empower people to just take that first step. There may be a little bit of struggle and heartbreak for a couple weeks, but after that, it's smooth sailing oftentimes, and you're not going to be craving the sugar anymore.
And it's well worth the effort to do this, because like I said, and this is the reason why we're doing this video, is I want people to understand the dangers. I want people to live a longer, happier life without these chronic metabolic diseases, and sugar is one of the biggest issues, especially in this country. So great, I'm glad they've heard about this and they can contact you for more information. So thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks, Russ.